What's up everybody, it's Priyon Joni. So in my last video, we explored the CDJ 900 Nexus. It was a CDJ that was released back in 2013, and it's still currently a great HID mode powerhouse, making it the best alternative to the flagship CDJ 2000 Nexus as an officially supported hardware for Serato DJ. Now we also spoke about how it has the beat divide section and how it doesn't have dedicated hotkey buttons. And the reason for that is because the newer XDJ 1000 Mark II never became supported by Serato. Now, one of the things that the CDJ 900 doesn't have is dedicated hotkey buttons. So if you are playing standalone and you want hotkeys, it would be best to opt for the XDJ 1000 Mark II. Now, in HID mode, when you're using software like Serato, Serato doesn't allow you to remap the beat divide buttons as hotkeys, which, by the way, Traktor does, but there are a few options you can do to get hotkeys in your setup. Today we're going to explore 3 of those ways. 2 of them are conventional ways that you might already know, and one of them is a little unconventional, and it took a little bit of experimenting to figure out. But before we get to that, a message from our sponsor, Direct Music Service. DMS is an online database for working DJs and mix artists. It's the one-stop shop where you can get your music from for your gigs. It's a searchable, organized database with thousands of edits, remixes, and different versions of your favorite tracks from many different genres. What's also awesome about Direct Music Service, if you're always on the road just like me, they have this awesome mobile app so that you can search your favorite tunes, put them on a wish list, and they'll be ready for you on your Dropbox folder when you get home. You can now save some money and get a discount using one of these 2 coupon codes. Use the code PJMonthly and get 30% off your first month off any monthly subscription. Use the coupon code PJYearly and get 10% off your entire first year of any yearly subscription. Go to directmusicservice.com today to sign up. So before we start, if you haven't seen it already, be sure to check out Pioneer DJ's latest product teaser video. We got something exciting coming out real soon. So if you want to get hotkeys with a CDJ 900 Nexus, and you're using Serato DJ, and you're using a mixer that doesn't have performance pads like a DJ MS9, instead you may be using a DJ M900 Nexus 2 or something like the DJ V10 we have here, where it doesn't have performance pad buttons. What are some of your options? So one of them is to use an official Serato hardware accessory device, like the DDJ XP2. The original XP1 was designed to work with Pioneer DJ's record box. The XP2 works with both record box and Serato DJ. Along with hotkeys, it gives you control of multiple performance parameters. A lot of folks like to even use it with their DJ controller or even their DJ MS9, which does have performance pads, so you can control multiple parameters all at once, from samplers, loops, to loop rolls. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it since there is a lot of information already about the XP2. And also, I don't have one here to show you. But the XP2 is a great way to add hotkey controls if you have CDJs that don't have dedicated hotkey buttons. Now, maybe you don't want to spend extra money on a Serato DJ officially supported hardware device, and maybe you might have some gear laying around in your studio that's been collecting dust and you haven't been using. What's something else you can use? So back in the day, before there were official Serato supported hardware, the way to get tactical hotkey controls that's not your computer keyboard was to MIDI map a MIDI device like a 16-pad controller. So 10 years ago, I had my Chord pad control, and this was specifically bought so that I could MIDI map it to Serato DJ. Actually, Scratch Live. The way it works is there's 16 pads, and each deck in Serato DJ has 8 hotkeys, so I could just mirror and MIDI map every hotkey on each side of the 16 pad. You don't necessarily have to have this Chord pad control, which I'm not even sure is available anymore. Any device that's capable with pads or buttons will work for MIDI mapping. So let's hook this up and try it out. So when I go into the preferences of Serato, I go to MIDI, and I have to make sure that the Chord pad control shows up in the MIDI devices. And if it doesn't, I'm going to unplug the USB and replug it and make sure that it reads. There we go. And we want to make sure that it says enable MIDI device for all of these. So now you're ready to MIDI remap the device. So we go up here to MIDI. And this is how easy remapping is all you have to do is click a function. And then on your device, you just press the button or turn the knob to assign it to that button. So hotkey number 1 on deck 1, I assigned to the number 1 pad. Now I want this mirrored to how my hotkey is vertical. So 1 through 4 is on the left side, 5 through 8 is on the right side. So next I'm gonna assign hotkey number 2 to button number 5 on the pad control. And that's basically all you have to do for all 16 pads. Now you don't necessarily have to put all hotkeys there. You could even set it for loops or loop rolls or other functions in Serato. For now, we're going to do 8 hotkeys for each deck because that's a perfect use of all 16 pads. And just for fun, I'm going to also assign these 2 knobs for the tempo control. So I click that. And now I have tempo control of the left deck. I'll click the right tempo control, move the knob around, and now I have tempo control of the right deck. And all my parameters are set. So now that I have that set, I can access my hotkeys on any track. And when you have a MIDI device like this, there's a couple other things you can do with the pad control. So say I have a MIDI device, I'm going to turn off the master tempo, and I am going to set this to 100% tempo width. So I'm going to put it right on my chest, hold it up like this, and we'll play a track and trigger a couple of scratch samples. All right, so that's custom mapping a MIDI device to your hotkeys. And both of these methods, from using an officially supported hardware device or custom mapping one, are the conventional methods of getting hotkeys to a setup that doesn't have performance pads. So what if you don't really have any extra MIDI gear laying around? Some people might not. Is there any other gear that you could possibly have that you could use to trigger hotkeys? Maybe you might have a DJ controller, perhaps an entry-level DJ controller. So let's hook this up now and see how it works with a DJM V10 already connected to Serato. So the thing you have to note is that the DJ SB3 is an official Serato controller. And what I discovered is if you have the Serato capable mixer connected to the computer first, and then you connect the DJ SB3 afterwards, some of the functions for the decks will work. What you don't have out of the SB3 is the audio capabilities, so there won't be any sound output coming from the SB3. It'll be strictly a controller. And since the SB3, when used by itself, works in internal mode with the mixer section, and the V10 works in external mode, that means that the mixer section of the SB3 will not be enabled. So most of your deck controls are the only ones that are going to be working, so none of the mixer functions or the crossfader is going to do anything. So let's turn up a little reverb on the tone play and give this a try. So yeah, if you have a setup where you do not have performance pads or dedicated hotkey buttons, you can use your entry-level DJ controller as your Serato accessory to access your hotkeys. And check this out, it's not just the hotkeys. You have access to all these performance pads. The DJ SB3 has that pad scratch function, and it's gonna work with the CDJs. So let's try some of the other performance pad options, like fade effects. Now let's try loop roll. So yeah, the DDJ SB3 not only allows you to access your hot cues, but gives you the options of the performance pads that's available on the DDJ SB3. Now, I'm not telling you to go out and buy a DDJ SB3 just for this reason, but I mean, if you want to do that, that's cool. But if you do just happen to have one, or if you're one of the folks that's been upgrading your gear over the years, you can take your entry-level controller and combine it with your professional gear to still use some of the functions right on it. Now, I know some of you are gonna ask me in the comments, is it gonna work with other controllers? I don't have all the Serato DJ controllers here to test it out, but the best way to try it is to just experiment. That's how I discovered this. It's plug and play. I didn't have to do any MIDI reassigning. And the reason is because it's an official Serato controller. If I were to do this with a record box only controller, it wouldn't be plug and play. In fact, you would have to assign every button, similar to what we did with a custom MIDI device. But with the SB3, we get our hot cues as well as all our performance pads working just right. Now, upon experimenting with the setup, using it with the DJ MV10 and the two CDJ 900 Nexus with Serato DJ, I discovered a couple other things you can do with the SB3 connected. But we're gonna cover that in upcoming videos, so stay tuned to my channel to find out what they are. I'm gonna leave product links to all this gear in the pinned comment below, and the links are gonna be from Zounds. Zounds has one of the best purchase financing options that you can find online. If you wanna get your gear today, get it from Zounds from the links below. If you got any questions, comments, or anything to add about what we discussed in this video today, be sure to leave them in the comment section below. Would love to hear your thoughts, answer any questions, or learn anything new that I haven't covered in this video. If you like this video, please smash that like button. And if it's your first time here and you found this video useful, please click that subscribe button and don't forget to click that little bell icon so you get a notification next time I upload a video. Be sure to add me on Instagram so you can see exclusive content that I don't cover here on YouTube, or to see sneak peeks of my upcoming videos. All right, it was fun. I appreciate you guys for watching. See you in the next video. Stay healthy.